Hello, friends. So is it Scoliosis Sufferers Anonymous? No. It is, however, the awesome project by Dan Swano, Infest Dead. Playing in the background, this is the Satanic Serenades retrospective CD put out by Dive Bomb Records, which is a great label, man. They're great. They put out some cool reissues. This is one of them. I think this has just about everything this project, one of the many projects Swano ever did. Great shit. Satanic Serenades, if you can hear it. Really good, brutal, more of American style death metal than his usual Swedish fare. Excellent. Check it out. First up, 2 videos in one weekend. You know, don't want to go full wide on you, but it feels kind of good to get back in the swing. I've got a little stack of stuff that I've been sitting on for quite a while, and a stack of new acquisitions, which is in the form of VCLT from one handsome and talented Brainsmasher, my good friend Ben. Hi, Ben. Thank you for the stuff. It's been a lot of fun. So, yeah, he sent me a little care package, one of which I've already kind of mentioned, but I wanted to go over and properly show off the stuff. So, let's get to it. First up in the box of love was Sadistic Intent's Resurrection. Not much you can say about this band that isn't nothing but praise mixed with a bunch of regret. Praise for the fact that they're a fucking amazing American evil death metal band that really never gotten their shit together. Their full-length album, The Second Coming of Darkness, I think it was going to be called, was fallen into obscurity. Apparently it was recorded. Was it Bernie from Agent Steel did the recording for it? And got busy doing Agent Steel stuff. Fallen ill. I think that something happened. The guy had a stroke or something bad happened to him. But I don't know. Why didn't these guys just pick up the reins and re-record it with someone else? I don't know. But Sadistic Intent is an amazing band that just has not done enough because they're so good. You want to hear more. But thanks, Ben, for sending this. This is the Gothic Records pressing. It must be an original pressing. I don't know for sure. Fucking classic. And I've always had a dub of this, but never the real thing, and I'm psyched to have gotten this. I've been listening to the shit out of it. It's so good. But, you know, this band's put out a mini CD, some 7 inches, a split, another small single thing that came out here not too long ago, but they ended up being the backup band for Possessed, and I would really just wish they would let Possessed get its own band and move on with Sadistic Intent, because they're definitely one of the top death metal bands in the U.S. as far as I'm concerned. Next up in the Ben stack is one of his favorites, which is Balsagoth Battle Magic. I've got the first album, A Black Moon Broods Over Lemuria, which I really like. As this band went, they got a lot more symphonic, and Battle Magic is a prime example of symphony battle metal at its peak. You know, putting this on, you know, I really got to be in the mood for this stuff, but I gotta say, it was kind of refreshing putting this on. It's so symphonic and recorded so dry and processed. I mean, the album is very processed sounding, very dry, but which allows, you know, all the synth textures, the bombastic, triumphant synth textures to come out to the foreground. You know, great technical proficiency in the guitar work. The riffs are busy. Walking the line between black and power metal. Very anthemic, spoken word style, black metalish vocals. You know, these guys, you know, you can't really take them that seriously looking at the cover. It's pretty cartoonish. But this is good. It's a good album, and, you know, I used to have the second album too, Something Ultima Thule, and for some reason I got rid of the stupid thing, which, man, there's been a million things over the years that I've gotten rid of that I kind of wish I didn't, but what are you going to do? Shit happens. But yeah, Battle Magic from Balsagoth, UK band. I don't think these guys are around anymore. I could be wrong, but you know, this isn't, like I said, something that's blown up my CD player often, but it's a fun listen in the truck. I've enjoyed it. Surprisingly, I've enjoyed it. It must have just caught me at the right time. I appreciate you sharing it, Ben. Thank you so much for that. Next up is a Midwestern band. Oops, I left the CD upstairs. This is Injicata with The Path of Liberation from Birth and Death. You know, I've heard some of this band stuff, and I think Ben sent it to me. He had an extra copy. He actually did some singing on this album. Some screaming. I've heard some of their older stuff, liked it, but it just, you know, I never spent a whole lot of time with it. As you know, move through this life and musical pursuits, you hear so many bands, it's hard to, you know, put a long time stamp on everything you hear, and this is one of those bands that I've heard, liked, but wasn't, you know, a quick enough grab that just made me want to, you know, keep spinning their shit. But it was kind of cool to get this and listen to it, and honestly, I was very surprised at how technically proficient this album is. It's like a black metal Gorguts. That might be a fair comparison. I mean, the music is very complex. The riffs are intertwined with very mathematical sounding harmonies and changes and time signatures, and very bizarre. It's almost alienating in its delivery, but it's interesting enough to keep listening. Like I said, it's very Gorguts inspired, although more of a black metal delivery. Good shit. This came out on Ben and Ron's label Pagan Flames. CD's upstairs in the shop. Good stuff. And next up, you know, I had a CD promo of this sent to me by Mordgrim Records. I'm not entirely sure. This is a two-man band. Basically, this is the most notable musician in this band is Lord Caiphas, who is some of you may remember from. By the way, the name of the band is Thok. The name of the album is Of Rape and Vampirism. Oh, so romantic and naughty. Anyway, Lord Caiphas is the main guy in this band, who some of you will know from the Grand Belial's Key demo. And the other band he went on to join of note is Ancient. I don't know, he's not in the band anymore, but to me, Ancient's best band album was the first one, Svartalfheim. Then Lord Caiphas entered, and you know, they put out some good stuff with him, but it got really kind of cheesy. But this Thok CD, you can tell they went into this thinking, we're going to write, you know, you got some notoriety from being an Ancient, we're going to write this black metal stuff, and it's going to take off, and we're going to be huge. The first evocation, as you can see, they're set up into two evocations. First evocation is pretty much straight ahead, standard American black metal. It's good. It's well written. Caiphas's vocals are loud and punchy. They are, you know, typical black metal shriek style. It's good. It's decent. It's really pretty well written stuff. But then they hit the second evocation and hurl it into this synth. This basically turns into a synth / experimental thing that is really boring and really uninteresting, and it pretty much kills the flow and the delivery that the first half offered. And you could tell that this probably wasn't very well received, if it was received at all. It was on a label from England called Mordgrim. Who knows how widespread this got out there, although, you know, back in the day, I live in Michigan, you know, my little zine Worm Gear ended up getting a promo of it. So, I mean, they did do some promotion for it. But it didn't really take off, and you could tell that the project was kind of abandoned. If, you know, there's more out after this, I did not investigate. But anyway, it's a decent album. If you see it for cheap, pick it up. First half is listenable. The second half is really bad. So you're basically getting an EP's worth of decent material here. Next up, I have not spun this yet, but I have heard this before, a long time ago. This is Dead Silent Slumber Entombed in the Midnight. I can't read that last word. Stupid font. Oh, Entombed in the Midnight Hour. Basically, this band's claim to fame is it is a solo project of one Jens Ryden, I believe is his name. Is that his name? Who was, Jens Ryden, who was the lead singer for the band, the Swedish band Nagelfar, who put out... I think that band is still going, to be honest with you. I don't know how good their shit is, because after the third album, I really kind of gave up on them. But the first album, Vitra, very good Swedish melodic black metal. At the time, I thought Jens Ryden's vocals were a little too dimensionless and full-on heavy screaming, high-pitched, full-on screaming. It was kind of dimensionless, but as the years passed on, I ended up kind of liking the album quite a bit because it's well written and well done. Anyway, he left the band, took his ball and left the band, and Dead Silent Slumber is the result of that abandonment. And I haven't spun this yet. I'm looking forward to it. Seem to remember being pretty underwhelmed by this shit when it came out, but times have changed. Times move on. This is out of all the stuff he sent, the last thing I have not spun yet. I will get to that though. And lastly, he was kind enough to send me his second copy of Keep of Kalessen's Through Times of War, which this is a fantastic Norwegian black metal album that no one ever talks about. Kind of sad. I mentioned this in a couple videos ago. Very Mayhem influenced, but with their own thing thrown into it. Really well done. A lot of heavy bass sound. Well done album. This is a great addition to my collection. Again, all I've had of this was the promo when it came out. Excellent. Thank you so much, Ben. I'm sure I owe you. And there will be something coming soon. Next up, a stack of stuff. And I'm going to hit you first with the non-metal because I go in phases. Sometimes I get kind of burnt out on everything I'm listening to, and I always revert back to either Kiss, which lately, I think, after being into that band since I was 7, and I'm going on 40 years ago, I think I'm starting to get a little tired of Kiss. They used to be my happy place band. The first couple albums were my happy place, and now I find myself spinning more industrial music, which... I'm a sucker for the 80s repetitive industrial / wax tracks sound. The three things I have here aren't, not all this is, wax tracks, but two of them are. And none of this is incredibly rare, but I've enjoyed picking it up and spinning it. First up is Ministry's Twitch. This is the last, I think, purely synth album that Lane did. Before Ministry started taking on more of a metallic evolution with Land of Rape and Honey, which is a great album, just a little more violent. And then, of course, The Mind's a Terrible Thing to Taste is probably their pinnacle for me. And every album after it's been kind of a evolution / bastardization of that album. But anyway, this is, to me, one of the 80s best industrial albums. It's catchy, it's somewhat dancey, but not, sickeningly so. This is the Sire Warner Brothers pressing. Again, there's nothing rare about this. I actually got another CD too I left upstairs I should have brought with this. But, coming out of With Sympathy, which was Elaine trying to mimic a English dancey type of style, this is more purely American industrial. I enjoy this album. Really catchy. Over the Shoulder, Crash and Burn. Some great songs on here. If you're into this style, definitely check this out. It's not metallic at all, so be forewarned. And along the same lines, I've really enjoyed the fuck out of this thing too. This is a Ministry side project, essentially. This is the Revolting Cocks with You Goddamn Son of a Bitch live. This is a live album. It's got Luke Van Acker on it, Chris Conley, Lane Jorgensen, Paul Barker. Basically Ministry with Luke Van Acker. And ultra repetitive, but hard driving, subversive, industrial music. Perverse. good, drugged out. You can tell it's drug-addled, which is great. Very catchy. This is a good album to listen to in the car. It's just crank it up loud, and just the synthetic tone is so pure, and definitely check this out. They ended up getting weirder. Jello ended up... No, not Jello. That was Lard. This band kind of got stranger as it went on. Beer, Steers, and Queers is a good album. I think that's the last album that I really enjoyed from them. But this is great. Definitely check it out. And next up, this is an album, for some reason, I'm a big Skinny Puppy fan. This is not a Wax Trax band, of course. They're more of a network. Always been a Skinny Puppy fan. I believe that they are pure artistic greatness. Basically, they're the band in industrial music that all other industrial bands strive to emulate and be. And I ended up finally picking up The Process. This is an older album. Was this the last album before Dwayne died? I think it is. He overdosed. But for some reason, when this came out after Last Rites, I felt it was too much of a commercial. How long are we going here? 16 minutes. Sorry, this is going to be a long video. For some reason, I thought this was more of a commercial departure from the noise-heavy Last Rites album. But I found it on eBay for like $3 or something like that, and just trying to fill out my Skinny Puppy collection. Picked it up, and surprised how much I've enjoyed it. It isn't really that commercial. It sounds like Skinny Puppy on a bigger label. They're on American Records at this point. Anyway, great album, Skinny Puppy. I'm a big fan. I've got some vinyl. I got most of their CDs. Love it. Good shit. Definitely check it out. Now into the death metal fray we go. First up, I just got this recently. Undergang til Døden os skiller. This is on Extreme Music from 2012. I have not looked at this band's discography. I don't know how extensive it is. All I know is I've got the new one and I've got this one. And this band is no frills, deeply tuned, but super catchy, stripped down death metal. And because of it, it's catchy. It reminds me of Grave, more of a if Grave was more of a band that was slumming, more of a streetwise band. This is just a filthy death metal album, and it's super catchy. It's really heavy. You turn it up, the fucking thing booms. I love it. They're a great band. Am I gonna, spin this forever and ever? Is it gonna be a classic to me? Probably not, but I do enjoy it. Enjoy this band, and I will definitely pick up anything that I stumble across from here on out, and other bands like it. It's just I tend to shy away from the ultra technical death metal stuff in favor of more of an ancient, old, full sound, and that's what Undergang have. Definitely check this out. I believe I got this from Hell's Headbangers. It's good shit. Definitely check it out. Next up is UK's Vasivus. Features Ian from the drummer Ian Finley, friend of mine from formerly of the band Woden's Throne. This is his death metal band. It's on Profound Lore. These guys are great. Very English sounding death metal of the old Peaceville era, I would say. Like Prophecy of Doom style, Old Paradise Lost, that whole era. Just really filthy, good death metal from the UK. It has a very English sound to it, and it's great. Well written. I've listened to the shit out of this. Also, the 7-inch that they put out, awesome. They have an album out before this, and I don't think it's as good as this. It seems like I previewed it, but I haven't gotten it yet. I'll eventually pick it up, I'm sure. Next up, all of these CDs here, I did the Hell's Headbangers 10 CDs for $50. I'm not going to spend a lot of time dwelling on this. Oops, you can't see what that is. I'm just going to go through these because I think a lot of people did this deal, and here we go. First up, filling in my Manila Road collection. This is Out of the Abyss. More of a thrashy, not thrashy, full-on thrash attack, but You could tell the thrash era was kind of infiltrating Mark the Shark Shelton's writing style a little bit. It's more aggressive than some of the Manila Road albums. I love it. It's Manila Road. Great guitar solos, great song structures, great harmonies. Awesome. Glad to have it. Finally an actual copy. I'm sure this is a millionth. Yeah, it's just Shadow Kingdom pressing. Nunslaughter, Angelic Dread. Longest time when this band first got going, I kind of thought they were, I don't want to say overrated, because, I mean, it's good. They didn't really do a whole lot for me. I thought there was a lot of bands doing stuff like this much better, but as time has gone on, I've ended up really liking their sound and their simplicity and their attention to detail for the old spirit of death metal. And that's what, all this is. I end up getting this. I mean, there's a million things. There's no way I'm ever going to fill in a Nunslaughter collection, but I'm going to try to get the full lengths here and there when I can stumble upon them cheap. I've been listening to it a bit in the car. I also got this 2 CD set, Devil's Congeries Volume 2. I have the first volume as well. It's a 2 CD set. I got it for super cheap. Good shit. Next up, I've listened to this. I can't tell you what it sounds like, but it's Coffin Lust, Manifestation of Inner Darkness. Thrashy black metal, I want to say. I liked it. It wasn't terrible for the price I paid for it. It's not something I'm going to reach for a lot. CD rack filler. Next up, Embalmer. Like, what the hell's the name of this? Emanation from the Crypt. Had to get this. A lot of YouTubers were saying how much they thought this was great. And it is. It's good Midwestern, crusty death metal. Vocals are way too low in the mix. Kind of kills the album for me. I need to listen to it some more and spend some more time. But in this stack, there was much better things, so I've kind of gravitated towards those. But Embalmer's good. I don't know. I'm glad I didn't buy this on vinyl because, like I said, the mix isn't the best. Next up is Shed the Skin. I bought this because Kyle Severin from Incantation plays drums on this. He's in this band. And I was quite impressed at how good this album is. It's somewhat technical, old-style death metal. Not overly technical, but enough to keep it from sounding like Incantation. It's just really well-done death metal, well-executed. Will these guys go anywhere? I don't know, but it isn't for lack of trying. I mean, there's 12 songs on here, and it's a good album. I've listened to it 3 or 4 times. I'll keep listening to it. Next up is Crucified Mortals, Psalms for the Dead Choir. Psalms of the Dead Choir. This is Reaper's band, as many of you know from Hellcast and Heavy Metal Relics. Seems like a nice, knowledgeable guy. I've heard his stuff in the past, didn't do much for me. A lot of friends are saying it's good, check it out. I got it. You know what? It is good. I'm very surprised at how much it sounds like Deceased, like Spiritual Undead Machines Forward. Reaper sings like King Fowley. The songs, sound like Deceased, or maybe a thrashier Deceased. The lack of originality kind of made me want to just listen to Deceased, but this is good. Takes a few more spins, I'm sure. I have not invested the time, but still, good stuff. Reaper seems like a good dude and very talented for sure. He just needs to find his own way, I think. Next up, I had to get these. There's something about Paul Ledney's Profanatica that I don't have all their stuff. I've got some of it, but everything I get by them, I secretly love it for some reason. I just love his pulsating, cancerous screams and how perverted and twisted Profanatica is. But I end up getting The Curling Flame of Blasphemy and Sickened by the Holy Host, the Grand Master Session. Both of these are simplistic, Americanized black metal, simplistic, stripped down, club you over the head with simplistic riffs. The charm is in the perversity and in Paul Ledney's fucking guts out vocal style. I listen to these quite a bit. They're fun. You don't have to think about it much. You can just enjoy it. It's well written. That's one good thing. Profanatica's stuff is always well written. Easy to remember. And with that, 24 minutes. Sorry. But that's what I got. And thanks for watching the last video and commenting. I've had a lot of comments already on it. It's cool to see people being nice and offering up some discussion, because that's what we're here for. Sharing information, trying to turn each other on to other bands, and opening up the debate. But anyway, yeah, it's a stack of new stuff. Thanks again, Ben, for the care package. I'll be hitting you back soon. Check out Infested. Pretty much everything Swano touches is gold. I got another thing from him I'll be showing in the next update. Keep saying, Dungeon Synth, it's coming sooner than later. I'm just, I bought a lot of stuff in a short period of time and have not spun it enough to be completely comfortable in talking about all the bands, because, you know, there's a lot of similarity between bands in that genre. But anyway, thanks for watching. You guys have a great week, and we will see you later.